Welcome back, and I have some cool guys that I just met that I realized had found some information from me and from my chat with Mike. That gave information about Ecuador. So let's get to meet them. What are your names, guys?
My name's Gerard Jeanette,
I'm Garland Alton,
And where are you from?
Jacksonville, Florida.
Jacksonville, Florida.
Tell me, where are we now?
We are in Cuenca, Ecuador.
What brought you down to Cuenca, Ecuador? Tell me your story about coming down.
So we're looking for a place to retire outside of the U.S. And so we decided to kind of narrow it down. Saw your video along with Mike and wanted to come do a exploratory visit here in Cuenca. So we've been here for 10 days, just looking things around to see if it was going to be appropriate for us.
Did this trip live up to the expectations that you had based on the information you got from my channel and all the research you did?
Absolutely, and it was actually very helpful because it narrowed down, answered a lot of questions that we had, healthcare, cost of living. As two gay men, we want to make sure that there was a gay welcomeness here, and there absolutely is. And so, yeah, it really helped in all the questions that we had. And it turned out that it was true.
And you ended up going to one of the meetups when you first came, right?
We did. We specifically arranged our vacation so we could do the gay group brunch, and then there's a little coffee group too. And so we kind of sandwiched it in there so we could get both of those in within the 10 days. And it did live up to all our expectations.
Fantastic. And tell me, what was one of the things that surprised you most about coming here? Maybe something that you didn't expect.
The weather. I have been really interested in Cuenca and narrowed it down to Cuenca for a long time. And I have been following my weather app for probably, I don't know, 6-7 months. And it keeps saying 62 degrees, 63 degrees for highs. And I go, oh my God, it's going to be cold. Pack nothing but long sleeve shirts and jackets because I knew it was good. It is not cold. I was just so surprised. It is a very warm 62, 63. Could have used a lot of short sleeve shirts that I did not.
How about you?
Well, for me, it was for safety. I was a little bit concerned. I don't speak Spanish, but walking the streets here, walking at night, I felt more safe here than if I would have walked the streets at home.
And that surprised you? Why?
It was unexpected.
People talk a lot about the negative parts of the safety aspect of Ecuador, right? And you didn't see that?
I did not see any of that.
Were you expecting to see something like that before you came down?
No, I've traveled abroad quite a bit. So it was just seeing what was out there.
So you knew it was more kind of just the media exaggeration and bias that you were hearing?
Exactly.
You just wanted to see it for yourself?
I did, yeah.
And tell me more about your exploratory trip. What did you do in these 10 days?
We walked for 10 days. We really wanted to, early on, we kind of knew that this was going to be probably a good landing place for us. And so we kind of wanted to narrow down which neighborhood we might be interested in. And this is a city of 600,000 people, so it's pretty large, and there's a lot of neighborhoods. And so we have gone everywhere. There's a beautiful tram system, so we took that multiple times, and just a lot of
Checked out a lot of the Mercados, a lot of the markets, a lot of the food.
You checked out some places that you were thinking about scoping out for apartments or for accommodation in the future, right?
Absolutely.
What did you look at?
We have 2 dogs, and so kind of the thought is that we would like a place that, like a green area, in order to walk the dogs. And they have multiple rivers. There's 4 rivers here in Cuenca. And so we looked at the rivers there to see how walkable it would be. I think there's 13 miles in my research of river walk. And so that would be really important to us. We like the green areas. And so we checked those out, and I've kind of narrowed it down to one of the rivers that I have difficulty pronouncing.
But what is the name of the region where you're thinking of staying?
No, we kind of like down by the botanical gardens.
Gotcha.
That's where we like.
Down by La Isla area type of place?
Absolutely, across the street from that.
And you said you have some dogs. Are you going to be bringing down some dogs?
That's the one worry. They've never traveled. It does make you a little anxious. But once again, at the gay brunch, everybody who was there has done this. And so they were just a font of information. Mike, I cannot begin to tell you how much he knows and how much he shared with us. And he is really, it just makes you feel more relaxed because everybody else has done it. Everybody talked about their experiences with bringing dogs down and things like that. Mike brought his dog down. A couple guys we just had beers with had brought their dogs down. 2 dogs, 3 dogs and 2 cats. And so it just makes you feel a little bit better about it. It's something we have never experienced because we've never taken them in an airplane before.
I've met expats, explored prices, walked the streets, and looked into safety. If you're serious about Ecuador, check out my full playlist for real boots-on-the-ground info. What is the timeline you're thinking of for coming down? Now that you've actually been here, you've checked it out, what are you thinking about doing now in the future?
Complicated question. We haven't discussed it at length yet, but we have a cruise booked for October. And that's kind of the middle point of where we could move, but we don't really want to miss the cruise, and so we're probably have to put it on the other end of the October cruise. And then we've seen a immigration lawyer, which Mike recommended, and she suggested you need 2 or 3 months in the U.S. before you move down to get all your paperwork in order. And so probably 2-3 months, possibly after the October cruise, is what we're thinking.
And you guys are both currently retired, right?
We are.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're just thinking about what's the next step now, and that seems to be what you're going towards?
Absolutely. It's just what we're aiming for.
Are there any things you want to tell any people that are a little bit worried about checking out Ecuador with all the bad press and Cuenca, that maybe they think it's maybe too overrun by tourists and foreigners?
All I can say is I personally I've done a lot of research on this before coming down here and have been incredibly pleasantly surprised. We travel a lot. I used to live in Barcelona many years ago, and we went back, I think 2 years ago. It was so overrun with tourists. All the things that I had done in Barcelona were no longer enjoyable. It was just flooded with tourists. And so here we kind of looked into what's the one in Mexico?
Puerto Vallarta? San Miguel de Allende.
San Miguel de Allende.
Right.
And once again, very touristy, and we didn't want that. We have not found that to be true here at all. That and the cleanliness of the city really, I hate to say surprised, but we've traveled to a lot of Caribbean countries and things like that. It is just immaculately clean here on the streets. And we have this trash mystery going on. We couldn't figure out what they do with their trash from their homes, and we never saw any trash on the streets ever, and found out later we're early risers, early sleepers, and they only put it out at night. But there's usually you see trash for the streets, and then they have sweepers who come along and clean up the street. It is incredibly clean, which was surprising. It really was.
I'm really happy that Mike was able to share the information that he did, that he gave his story, and that you guys were able to benefit. Now you're here, and now you're making a possibly major life decision based on that. Really touches my heart, and I really appreciate you guys reaching out and Mike reaching out. And Mike, before we go, I want to ask you one question specifically to you. Ecuador continues to be kind of this place that has all of this controversy on. It continues to be this place of, it's so, the danger continues to come up in the headlines, and then the politics. How has it been on the ground?
On the ground here, it could not be better. We were in Quito last weekend, and we found that it really wasn't safe to be on the street, but at night. But here I can be out, and I just totally feel safe, and it's a great location. Interesting thing at the meetup that we had yesterday afternoon, there were 5 guys that were at that meetup, and they all had seen the video that we had done, and they were all here independently. And it was just interesting that they were here because of the 2 of us.
Do you think the confusion is between Cuenca and the rest of Ecuador, and perhaps with Guayaquil, with Manta, with Quito? Do you think Cuenca is kind of an area that kind of is shielded from these types of headlines?
It is. It's about 3 hours from Guayaquil and the coast, and about 8 hours from Quito. And so it's just kind of like a little hidden paradise. And it's just such a lovely place. couldn't be happier. Every day is a new adventure for us.
What were the vibes that you got from the guys that you met up at the meeting with and that came down to do their exploratory trips? Did they all seem to have pretty positive outlooks?
Everyone has really positive views of Cuenca. It was interesting. One of the guys left the meeting early because he was having some difficulty with an eye. He went to see an ophthalmologist that got him in yesterday afternoon on an emergency. This is somebody he's never seen before, and today he's got an eye patch on, and it's just pretty amazing. The healthcare here is just so accessible. I had an experience. I had a cough that was kind of continuing for about 3 weeks. Went to see my doctor, and he got me in about 6:30 at night. So about 7 o'clock, he says, I want you to see ear, nose, and throat specialist. And he gets on the phone and he calls this friend of his, and the guy said, well, I could see him about 8:30. How often does that happen in the United States? It just doesn't happen. And we saw this ear, nose, and throat specialist, and it was $40. So it's just impressive.
That type of thing can't be beat, can it, Mike?
It can't.
If you're enjoying this interview and you're interested in seeing more content like this, you can check out my playlist called the Expat Interview Playlist, where I have been interviewing people from Guatemala all the way down through Central America and now here in South America.
So we're talking about the healthcare related idea, and Mike just gave his experience, and I wanted to ask if there was any healthcare related experience that you had here on this exploratory trip.
Once again, just 10 days, so it was very minor. We both caught colds while we're here. Yeah, I speak Spanish, but I learned my Spanish in Spain. So I went to the pharmacy and I said I had a catarro, which in Spain means cold. And she goes, do you mean gripe? Which I thought meant flu. And I go, no, it's a catarro. And so she asked for the symptoms. I explained it. And so she sold me some pills from the pharmacy. And once again, right now, 4 days later, we're both fine.
So you went to the pharmacy to get some medicine, or did you go directly to a doctor for that?
Nah, I just went. It was just a cold, so we just went to the pharmacy. The only thing we have struggled with, I have yet to discover the word for Kleenex, and we needed some Kleenex. Tried at the pharmacy. It was not an easy go, and I found out if you just say Kleenex, then you can get them. I was trying everything else and say paper for the nose when you have none of that.
All right, guys. Well, I really appreciate you all coming together to have a chat with me, to talk about your experiences here. Mike, the OG, and then we have some new Gs right here. And if you have any interest in coming to check out Cuenca, I think you have 3 guys that can give you some support for that being a positive idea, don't you think?
Absolutely.
Cuenca, 3, 2, 1. Cuenca.
Cuenca.
Hasta la próxima.